and an Oscar nomination. Jamal credits his time spent in the Black Panther Party and Leavenworth Federal Prison as the fire that forged his creative sword. He and his wife Joyce have 3 children who are proud Panther Cubs and artists and activists. Ray Love. Ray, you can tell me your age later, but it's 48 years old. But if you don't mind, I just said you can tell him, and then I told him. He's a musician. A lot of his work was in the 90s. He's CEO of Amaru Enterprises, and he's COO of Mac Dre Estates. We have Henry Cooper, father, brother, son, and uncle, United States Navy veteran, and a retired public servant. Big ups to you, Mr. Cooper. We have Greg Jackson, who has over 15 years of experience in television and film production. Greg has volunteered with the Tupac Amaru Shakur Foundation since 2004. Greg joined the TASF Board of Directors in 2019 with hopes to expand the multimedia division of the nonprofit organization, offering production training and original content produced in-house by our students and alumni. We have Mr. Herbert Daughtry Sr. He's pastor, activist, author, organizer, humanitarian. The Reverend Dr. Herbert Daughtry hails from a family which has produced 5 generations of Black church leaders. Born in Savannah, Georgia, and raised on the streets of Brooklyn, New York, and Jersey City, New Jersey. Reverend Daughtry has risen to positions of national and international prominence. Currently, he's National Presiding Minister Emeritus of the House of the Lord Church. He has previously served as chairman of the National Black United Front and founder and president of the African People's Christian Organization. More than 60 years of involvement in church and community service has earned him the title the People's Pastor. And I don't have resumes so the people who I did not call, I would love for you to just speak and just share with us who you are. Like Mr. Charles Barron, we all know Mr. Charles Barron, but I would rather hear his voice here.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor to be with you. I'm Assemblyman Charles Barron, but really that is my vocation. My profession is a revolutionary. And I just want to let you know I was inspired as a young teenager, and I went up to the Harlem chapter. I saw Jamal and others doing work. And so I brought my papers down to the Lower East Side and hooked up with Felipe, Luciano, and the Young Lords. And I walked in from Chinatown, and I grew up on the Lower East Side of Manhattan. I was a member of the House of the Lord Church with Reverend Herbert Daughtry. He's my pastor, and Sister Karen Daughtry is my pastor. And we worked together also in the Black United Front. I was chair of the Harlem Black United Front. And I also was the Secretary General of the African People's Christian Organization. I got elected to the City Council in 2002, served 13 years in New York City Council. And then after that, I've been 5 years in the State Assembly. But most importantly, I am Mr. Inez Barron, the husband of my African queen, Inez Barron, the father of Jawanza Barron and Jelani Johnson, and the grandfather of Solomon and Osam my 2 grandsons.
Awesome, 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 awesome. Yay. So I'd like to go to Greg. Greg, can you just share us a little bit? Oh, I read yours, didn't I? Yeah, I did. Okay. So I'd like to go to Ray Tyson, who is he can tell you who he's the son of, who happens to be in this space. So Ray, can you unmute yourself and introduce yourself?
Okay, you introduced me already, but
I did.
I am the son of the gentleman Ray Tyson Sr. that's on here as well. That's my father, and one of my teachers. So it's great to have both of us today. This is our first time being on anything like this together.
Wow, beautiful. And I want to bring in Malik Shakur's voice.
Hey y'all, hope y'all are well. I'm the son of Seth Shakur, son of Greg Jackson, grandson of Afeni Shakur. Probably the only non-father here. I think me and Peter are the only non-dads here. So solidarity, Peter. But I appreciate all the fathers here. I've before this call, I've looked at all of you in separate points in my life as father figures. So I appreciate seeing all of you at the same time right now. It's cool.
Please.
Mr. Thaddeus.
Greetings. I'm a son of the tree. You know, conceived in the summer of '62, somewhere around Birmingham, Alabama, as the story goes, and have been pushing forth, championing the struggle ever since. More on me to come. Just grateful to be here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Peter?
Hello. Well, I'm the third. My grandfather actually, he just recently passed away. He is Peter Walker Senior. My father, he's a junior. So I'm the third in that lineage. I don't have any children of my own. Of course, one day I'd love to be a father. But I have plenty of father figures that have stepped up to the plate. You know, my dad, he wasn't always necessarily around. So I had to, you know, find my own father figures growing up. My mother's Katrina Arlene Dawkins. Some of you may know her. And just happy to be here.
Happy to have you. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Did I miss anyone? Other than our facilitators, which we're going to get right into it. So we have a phenomenal team of facilitators, Onaje, Joshua, and Shawnee, and myself, Fatima Hafiz. And we are going to actually just move forward so that we can really have as much time as possible with you all. And so what I'm going to do is turn it over to Joshua and Shawnee, Joshua Lee, and Shawnee Benton Gibson.
Johnny.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Renee Benton Gibson, daughter of Kenneth Morgan and Joyce Livingston Bailey, and just grateful to be here with all of you, especially on this auspicious day, because we declare it to be Sunday, S-U-N Day, just celebrating the sons and the light that all of you are. So tonight, Joshua, my partner in this healing activity, will be presenting an activity that is geared around us bringing what we call surplus reality to the space. That means our imagination, the imago Dei, the imagination that comes from the creator that allows us to live and be and breathe as we were designed to do so. So I'm going to do something called face rites. It's a ritual that allows us to be seen, our faces to be seen, our voices to be heard, and our energy to be felt. And we already started that journey. Thank you for the background music. I love it. I love it. I hate it. That means we're about to go deep and wide. I love it.
Right.
So we're going to do a face rights exercise that allows the brothers that have already spoken to be known on a deeper level, and for us to bring in the energies or to expand the energies of the ancestors, as we did when we did the opening ritual with the water, the element of water. And so face rights, I'm going to ask everyone, oh, I didn't say who I am as far as my work. I have an organization called Spirit of a Woman. I'm blessed to be on the team that is part of the vision for Fatima Hafiz called the T Group. I'm also a mother. I'm a mother of 2 living souls and 1 daughter who has transitioned recently. She passed in October. And I know she's here with us today, and she's guiding me as I speak to all of you. I'm a licensed clinician here in New York City. I'm New York born and bred, and I love that one of the leaders said that they were from Savannah, because I lived in Savannah, Georgia for 3 years and loved it. Only left because the family here in New York was like, it doesn't seem right that a New York girl would be alone in Savannah. So I came on back home, and I haven't left since. And what I would say is that I invite you to get to know me as I unpack this exercise in partnership with Joshua, because it doesn't matter what I say about myself, it's about how I be in this space. So improper grammar, but great doctrine. So
it's all good, Charlie.
The face rights exercise.
Let me introduce myself.
Oh, okay, sorry.
All right, great. Good evening, everybody. I'm Joshua Lee from Baltimore. And first of all, I am the youngest son of Thelma and David Lee Sr. And I also have 5 daughters of my own and 3 grandchildren. I am a racial justice coach and facilitator and life coach. And it's a pleasure for me to be here this evening.
Awesome, thank you, Jack. So I'm going to ask, if possible, for those of you who are not speaking yet, to mute yourselves so that we can experience the benefits of everything that unfolds in the space today. And the face rights, the ritual of being seen, heard, and felt in the space requires that each of us share our names, which we did already, but we're going to deepen it. Like, what's in a name? Everything. So all your names, the middle names, the nicknames, like all the names that you have, please do speak them, because the universe knows them, the creator knows them, the ancestors know them. And then your age, if you haven't already shared, please share your age, because every second, minute, hour, day, week, month, and year on the planet is a blessing. And because of the crisis we just experienced, we know that time is not guaranteed. So we're blessed to be here. So we celebrate by declaring chronologically what our ages are. And some of us are timeless. We've been here many times, but in this incarnation, we declare our age. And then share your status. Some of you already said it. What's your status as a father or father figure? You know, how many children have you manifested on the planet? How many bonus children do you have? I have a blended family. So, you know, I have bonus children. I have children that came through me biologically. And then finally, intuitively select a number between 1 and 10. Intuitively select a number between 1 and 10. So I'm going to give you a few moments. Put that in the chat or write it in on your sheets. And if anybody who's watching on YouTube, you are free to also select your numbers, to write up who you are and whose you are, your status, father figure, father, or both. Or also, if you're a woman in the space, you can write, you know, what your status is as well. We invite that in if you're on YouTube. And then a selection of a number from 1 to 10, just one of the numbers. And what I will say, whatever inevitably happens in every group, I'll say, you know, maybe sometimes nervousness, or you looked away or were focused on something else. I'll say a number from 1 to 10, and somebody will say 22. We'll take it, but it's not part of the activity. So a number between 1 and 10. And it's also in the chat if you need further instruction.
I can start. Anybody can start. Is this?
We're just going to give some people time, a little bit of time, Greg.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll folks. But thank you. I love the energy that you bring to the conversation. Ready. Stay ready, right? One more minute. I see Raymond Tyson Jr. Share your age, please, your status, father figure, both, and the number that you selected. Thank you, Raymond. 48 years old, 2 children. I just love that you put that in. We appreciate you. and select your number from 1 to 10. And don't worry, if you can't find the chat, I will be calling your name and asking you.
Number 8.
Okay, we're not ready. I love these brothers are ready. They're like, my number is. I will call on you, I promise you. All righty, so let's get started or continue. Henry, can you unmute yourself, please?
There you go.
So introduce yourself, if you will.
Henry Cooper. I have one daughter. I'm 51. I have one daughter, and my number is 4.
4. All righty. So I'm going to ask that Stephanie, if you would put up the image that shares what the numbers are, and I'll tell you what they mean. And once again, if you're not speaking, if you can mute so we can minimize the background. All right, so we're just waiting for the image to clear. So Stephanie, if you can mute Ray and Reverend Daughtry and Thaddeus.
Okay, and the image is up.
Yes, I see.
Okay.
Thank you. So Henry.
Yes.
Unmute Johnny, please.
I didn't hear you.
Sorry, I was muted. So for every number, there's a corresponding lyric from Tupac's songs. Lyrics that we teased out from specific songs. And so your lyric states, tomorrow you wake with a second wind, strong because of pride. I know that you fought with all your heart. And Stephanie, if you could remove the box. Sorry, thank you. Tomorrow you wake with a second wind and strong because of pride. I know you fought with all your heart to keep the dream alive. And that's from Tupac's song called Tomorrow.
And tomorrow.
So Henry, if you could share why you believe that particular lyric.
Well, one thing that I liked about the lyric was that, you know, the saying that tomorrow with the strong pride, the strong, yes, the strong pride that I have in my people, you know, thinking every day that tomorrow's gonna bring a better day, and striving to live for a better tomorrow.
Thank you so much. All right, I'm going to move to Jamal. Thank you for muting Henry. Jamal, if you can unmute. Introduce yourself. Stephanie, you may have to assist.
Hi, Jamal Joseph. Known by many young people as Uncle Jamal or Professor J. 67 years young, father to 2 sons and a daughter, both all 3 college grads and artist activists. And status is educator, activist, artist, revolutionary, and griot, the person who sits in the village and is responsible for educating the tribe, but also entertaining the tribe. And it's important that the griot do both things well. You could be entertaining, but you have to have the history and the news and the prophecies correct. Or you could be very academic and be boring and people still are not going to relate. So the griot needed to do both things. And I mentioned father of 3, but proudly have been able to serve as father, uncle, and mentor to over 1,000 young people in the course of the youth programs that I founded and volunteered at. And the number that resonates with me is the number 8.
8. Beautiful, Jamal. And what I did not say, I said intuitive selection. So whatever you selected is for you. It's a message to deepen you, and then also a message for the community. And I also speak to the YouTube community. Whatever number you selected is for you as well. And so listen closely and watch as we read. So Brother Jamal, your message from Tupac's lyrics: strength is overcome by weakness. Joy is overcome by pain. The night is overcome by brightness, and love, it remains the same. This is Untitled number 3 by Tupac Shakur. Why does Spirit give you that message today?
I think now more than ever, it's important that we have strength, but that we understand that as we are standing strong against oppression and fighting for liberation, that we know that the most powerful energy that we can have is love. It's one of the first things I saw when I walked into the Panther office in 1968. There was a quote on the wall from Che Guevara, hero of the Cuban Revolution, that said, "At the risk of sounding ridiculous, let me say that revolutionaries are guided by great feelings of love." And if you ask any member of the Black Panther Party, my comrade Charles Barron, who's a veteran Panther, will know that any Panther will answer this question the same way, and any true revolutionary feels that. What were we taught to believe above all other things? And we had a 10-point program and rules of discipline and studied really hard. They will answer the question essentially like this: we were taught to have an undying love for the people and to serve the people, mind, body, and spirit.
Ashe. Thank you. I'm going to ask, since you spoke his name, that Brother Charles Barron unmute.
Thank you. I'm Charles Barron. I'm 69 years young. I'll be 70 October 7th.
Yay.
I am a father of 2, men-child in the not-so-promised land. And I am the grandfather of 2. And my status is an elected revolutionary. I don't use that word loosely or lightly. No matter what titles I take on, what vocations I take on, my end goal is going to be revolution, because I firmly believe that the pre-existing conditions of poverty and unemployment and miseducation and all a myriad of other social illnesses came from a racist, parasitic, capitalist system, and we living in domestic colonies, and the ideology of this system is racism. But what it rendered was us being very vulnerable to a pandemic, a coronavirus, because of the pre-existing political and economic conditions. And my number is 7, and that's a number that I've always cherished. I was born October 7th, 1950. So my number is 7.
All right. Well, I have a newfound love for you, or an expanded love for you, because I'm an October person too, I think, as well. October 1st, one child. So the number 7, the message for you from Spirit: you make mistakes, but learn from everyone. And when it's said and done, you bet this brother will be a better one. If I upset you, don't stress. Never forget that God isn't finished with you yet. And that's from Ghetto Gospel, Tupac Shakur.
Well, that's a powerful, powerful message. And it depends upon who I upset. If I upset the people that I love, God ain't through with me yet. If I upset the people who are enemies, right on. I'm going to continue to upset you. But it's a powerful, powerful message, because it's through our mistakes that we get better. It's through our ability to accept constructive criticism and not destructive criticism that we get better. And when we get better as individuals, we have a better opportunity to make revolution in America and indeed the world. As Tupac said, I came to be a leader in this great world, and I plan to leave an impact, and he sure did.
Ashe. Thank you so much. Yes. And next we have, if Brother Charles could mute himself, we have Brother Thaddeus. If you can unmute, please. You might need assistance.
Did I get it right?
Yes.
All right. Wow. All praises to the Creator. Yeah, I just need to say that, 57 years into this life that I've been blessed with, it never ceases to amaze me, the power of the collective spirit. Because I truly know that I haven't made it this far under my own devices and my own strength. As I mentioned earlier, I'm a son of the tree, our tree. Tree that goes all the way back to the very roots, the trunk and the various branches and the leaves and the fruit upon.
Can you tell us your full name?
I was born, slave name of Tyrone Brown. Conceived in South, summer 62. How that conception went about, I do not know. What I know is my biological mother came up north, gave birth, and disappeared. And on my birth certificate was written Tyrone Brown. And I became a ward of the state for the first 7 months of my life. And then I was taken into the longhouse of an indigenous woman of Mohawk tribe. And she dedicated the last 21 years of her life to give me a chance. And I gave her a run for her money. God bless her, I love her. I've been blessed now with 4 children of my own and 9 grandchildren. And as I mentioned earlier, from the very beginning, I have been pushing through and fighting for not just mine, but our freedom. Our freedom from the chains that have bound us, initially physically, and now more holistically. That's all I have to say for now.
All right. Brother, I invite you to share your number, the intuitive selection between 1 and 10.
7.
7. All right. So we heard 7, and 7 for you is different than 7 that was selected by Brother Charles. So, Brother Thaddeus, listen up. You make mistakes, but learn from every one. And when it's said and done, Brother Thaddeus, you bet this brother will be a better one. If I upset you, don't stress. Never forget that God isn't finished with you yet. Ghetto Gospel, Tupac Shakur. Why does Spirit give you that message for such a time as this?
Nothing could be more on point. The spirit of my brother Tupac, it certainly is within me, just as all of our spirits is in each other. Ubuntu, we are one.
Sure.
There is no disconnect. We feel each other's pain, even we don't even realize that we're feeling each other's pain. What it means for me is that 57 years into this, and I'm just getting started.
Ashe.
There's a whole lot of work ahead, and I'm going to ride it as long as I can.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, brother. We appreciate you. I'm going to ask that Brother Ray Tyson unmute. Introduce yourself. Age, status.
Ray Tyson Sr., age 74. Number is 8. I have 4 sons. I consider them soldiers. All my grandchildren I consider soldiers. And I'm looking forward and I'm excited to be a part of this panel because there's so much work to be done. And at my age, I'm excited because I'm just excited about what's getting ready to happen. And I see new growth. That's why I chose 8. This new beginnings.
Beautiful. So Brother Ray, thank you. Just trying to reduce the sound and the reverb. This is a connected group because we keep getting the messages coming back through and amplified. So number 8, your intuitive message, Brother Ray. Strength is overcome by weakness. Joy is overcome by pain. The night is overcome by brightness, and love, it remains the same. Untitled number 3 by Brother Tupac Shakur. Unmute yourself, Brother Ray.
It's already been spoken of. Love pretty much conquers all things, including fear. And number 3, that's where I'm at right now. I'm looking forward to the change. I've decided, and for what my expertise leads me to and where I've been effective is with the youth and with other men as myself. As a male that has never had the guidance of a father, but I had the guidance of a grandfather. I know the necessity of males, positive males, not just males, but positive males in the lives of our youth, especially in our community. And I think right now I've dedicated myself to helping young people to find that treasure that lies with each and one of them in the hardest core communities where people are giving up, to stir that up in them, because that is our future. And all they want to do is be heard, and be appreciated, and they'll do the rest.
Beautiful. If you can mute yourself again. I will share, Brother Ray, a point of gratitude for you extending the message by including the title. This title is Untitled number 3, and you focused on the number 3, which is a powerful number, but what I want to point to is untitled means that each time you go through this round, you can call it another thing, because it is another thing. And I just acknowledge you for acknowledging the title as an extension of the message. Thank you for that. Peter Walker, if you could unmute.
Yep, no problem, I'm here.
Hi.
Hi.
So share your name.
Okay. My name is Peter. I know you asked for the meaning earlier. Peter Urban Walker III. Peter means rock, the foundation. That's what I was taught. I'm age 33, I have no children, and the number I chose is 7. It's always been a godly number, so that's why I always like that number. I guess it represented good luck, and I know a lot of people have chosen 7 so far.
Yeah, it speaks to the connection amongst the folks in this group, and so I salute the 7 and the 8. It's just the message keeps coming through, so it's a message for us all clearly. I also want to ask you a question. You said you're not a father, but you give off fatherly energy. So name one person that's been fathered by you.
I actually have a godson. His name is Zion. And I've been with him since he's been younger. And it was always a goal of mine to just stay in his life since I first met him. And then I have my nephews. I have a couple nephews that were close to me growing up. So yeah, I always feel like because I had father figures, that it was only right to pass on the blessing that I had to the younger people that were around me.
Yes, fathering is a vibration and an energy. It's not just a title or connected to biological manifestation. It's the energy you bring, the intention. So we thank you for pouring into those young men that you just named. And 33, I spent all day talking about 33, right? All right, All right,
Yeah.
number 7. You make mistakes, but learn from every one. And when it's said and done, you bet this brother will be a better one. If I upset you, don't stress. Never forget that God isn't finished with you yet. Ghetto Gospel, Tupac Shakur.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite Tupac verses. It fits perfectly. It's all about just being a better person. You know, even having others forgive you sometimes for your mistakes and just trying to improve and growth, right? I think it's all about growth. Everybody, all of our journeys are about growth. If we're still in the same place we were at last year, something is wrong. So I always love that verse. Ghetto Gospel is one of my favorite songs. Tupac is just he's one of those father figures for me.
Yes.
I grew up listening to his music more than I listened to my own father. So yeah, it's that fit perfectly for me. So I love that one.
Beautiful. Thank you, Peter. If you could
Yeah,
mute
no problem.
Brother Greg.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
My name is Gregory Jackson. Gregory meaning watcher, the watcher. I'm also was given the name Bahani Lajah by Matulu Shakur, which means a father and a peacemaker. And I've been the glue in most of the circles that I've been in my whole life, in my family, my friends, and still today. I tend to come into situations and be the glue in those situations and see things from all sides and kind of be like a healthy medium for people. My number, the number that's calling to me right now, 7 is my number. I'm born in 77, but the number that I'm feeling my intuition right now is 5.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Greg. So your intuitive message is, here's a message to the newborns waiting to breathe. If you believe, then you can achieve. Just look at me. And I'll read it again. Here's a message to the newborns waiting to breathe. If you believe, then you can achieve. Just look at me. And this is from Tupac's song, Smile. And I invite you to share why Spirit had that as the message for you today.
Well, right off the bat, what I'm hearing is that I've chosen to take on a bigger leadership role in my family over the last 5 years. I've been going back and forth to get my nephews from New York City and bring them to the South and try to get them out of their environment to show them different things and take them different places. And I think that in my family, I am the ray of hope. Like I'm the beacon of light in my family, and they kind of look at me as the person who did something different and went on and did something different with my life. So I think everybody in my family kind of looks at me as what is possible, and not like I'm this great success story or anything like that. But I'm just the one that broke the mold and tried to do things differently.
Ashe. The essence of newborn,
Yes.
breaking cycles. Thank you for that so much, Greg. We're going to call on Ray, Ray Jr., if you can unmute.
Yeah. How you doing? My name is Raymond Tyson Jr. My friends and the ones closest to me call me Ray Love. It was a nickname actually given to me by Pac. It's what Tupac used to call me when we were in high school. Over my life, the name has come to mean many things. When I looked it up, it was protector. But I have been told by others that, like the brother Greg, that I was a ray of light and a ray of love. And I kind of like that. I kind of hung on to that. I'm the father of 2 children, a boy and a girl, Naeli and Isaiah. But I'm also a father figure and a mentor to countless, most of my friends' sons, friends that have lost, whose sons lost a parent, or one of my friends who died, few of my friends who died, I looked after their sons. and their daughters. So my number is 1.
Okay.
To me, it always represented the synergy of everything that we are. You know, it's the totality. It's us as a unit. It's what makes us powerful. It as well as individuality as a group. So 1 is my number.
All right, so Ray, get ready, because I'm looking at the first line and I'm like, this is prophetic. Through every dark night, there's a bright day after that. So no matter how hard it gets, stick your chest out, keep your head up and handle it. This is the song In My Heart by Tupac Shakur. Why did Spirit give you this message today?
The last few months have been, just like everybody else, have been incredibly difficult for me. Personally, I've been physically sick. I've had mental and emotional things that have gone on in my life and in our home that we have been struggling against in the midst of everything else that's going on in the world. And just over the last few days leading up to this call right now, and even today, with all of these positive, strong people on one call of one accord, it is the light after some pretty dark days. So yeah, I think that's right on point.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Ray. Ray and Ray, we love it. If you can mute yourself, Reverend Daughtry, if you're ready.
Yes.
And we got to pull you out of the dark. We need some light over there. I see you have a helper. Thank you. We want to see your beautiful face. So if you can unmute yourself and share who you are and your age and your status and your number, please. There we go.
You got, all right. Well, first, let me say I'm Herbert Daughtry. I'm honored, so honored to be on the program and to be a part of this rather creative experience. And may I just say that my mind is there's a competition and memories, and I know for all of us, we have to stay focused. But I would like to make mention because it's related, you know, I was thinking that it was November 10th, 1996, when we dedicated the Tupac Amaru Shakur Foundation in Atlanta, Georgia. And then the other date I'd like to call your attention to, it was June the 18th, significantly, 2016, that we memorialized Afeni at our church. Jamal was there, and of course, Charles was there, etc. Well, so much for memories. But my name is Herbert Daughtry, and I'm chronologically 89 years old. I am physically about 35. I'm psychologically about 18, and mentally about 21, and philosophically I'm forever, and spiritually I'm eternal. I've been married 58 years, and I'm so blessed to have my wife seated here next to me, the Reverend Dr. Karen Daughtry, seated next to me, where she has been for about 60 years. That includes our courtship and the engagement and all of that. We are very proud of, we have 4 children who are super achievers. There's a biblical verse that I love. It says that when we are obedient to the will of God, even our children will prosper and be successful. So our eldest daughter, Leah, the Reverend Leah, who is, by the way, the 5th generation of preachers in our family, was made history. You know, she was 2 times the CEO of the National Democratic Convention. In 2008 was her great work that propelled Obama into office. That's on the record. I was there when they put the motion in. This was the greatest convention the Democratic Party ever had. And then Hillary Clinton asked her to come back and do it again in 2016. And of course, she would have been the CEO of the first woman president if the Russians hadn't gotten involved. Of course, she is now the national prelate of our church. I resigned last year. She is now the bishop. We only have one bishop. She is the national prelate of our church.
Beautiful.
We're so
Beautiful.
proud. And then,
can you share your number that you selected?
oh, my number 7. Charles Barron had to take my number. You know, so I'm number 7 because in my past life, you know, 7, as long as 7 came up first, you were all right. So,
all right.
Yeah. So I
all
chose
right.
7.
So listen up, like I said earlier, because a few people chose 7. Your 7 is not their 7. So listen to the message as Spirit only has it for you, Reverend Daughtry. So here we go. Yes, you make mistakes, but learn from every one. And when it's said and done, you bet this brother will be a better one. If I upset you, don't stress. Never forget that God isn't finished with you yet. Ghetto Gospel, Tupac Shakur.
Well, it's interesting that my sermon earlier this morning was the God of the least and the worst. And I called to mind a sermon I heard when I was doing time. I wasn't a political prisoner either, but I was doing time in New Jersey State Prison for armed robbery and assault with a weapon. And I heard a sermon by a man named John Lawrence, the God of another chance. You got another chance. So as I preached this sermon this morning, I recounted my life, you know, being saved in 1953, as we say. You know, I'm a follower of the Jesus Christ. And in 1953, getting ready to do some long time, and for the government and for the state, as when I gave my life to Jesus Christ. I was ruined. I was 22, had been in jail and out of jail most of my 12 years. And from that point on, 1953, I did 6 years, 5 for the state, 1.5 for federal government. And so when I came home in 1958, it was there that I started out being a pastor and through the years. And so now it's 61, 89 years old. Can you imagine? I look back now, all the members in our church now, our members, my wife and I, they came in since then. And we've been traveled across the world, met some great people across the world. The organizations that I was founding chair, National Black United Front, are still in existence. And many of the organizations are still in existence. And so I'm that's 7, that mistakes. Yeah, I am the worst. In fact, when my dad said he's the preacher, I was the joke of the family. Everybody knew I was into. I was the joke of the family. You know, they made fun of me. They, you know, Dad, you don't know what they're into. But here I am, 89, by the way, enjoying good health. I'm still on the basketball court. I'm still hitting from my outside jumper. I'm still good with my hands, and I'm just a blessed old man.
Thank you. And we love you, blessed old man. We appreciate it. And so
thanks for blessing, by the way.
Yes. We're going to move to the final person to bring us on home, and that's Brother Malik. If you can unmute and share.
Hey, everybody. How you doing?
So name, age, status, as far as father figure. And remember what I shared earlier, that you can be a father figure. You don't have to have biological children yet. And then also the number you selected.
Man, it all starts with the name. So I was born Malik Greenwich. My mother had a baby with a man named Malcolm Greenwich, who I do not consider my father, but science is science, you know, I can't argue with that. But I guess you could say I was reborn Malik Shakur when I was 18 years old. I'm 24. I'm one of 8 siblings, so 7 is my number because I think about all my 7 siblings.
All right, 7.
7.
It's round
And
up.
just
You ready?
like, yeah.
Okay, just finish the sentence. We want to hear from you. You're the youngin', you rounding us off. So what's the thing you wanted to say?
Well, just in that number 7, you know, there's, I think 3, you know, I got stepdad, I got biological dad or whatever. But the fatherhood and the responsibility of teaching the young men is decentralized in a way that I appreciate, you know. Each one teach one in that kind of way. I teach my little brother teaches his little brother, and we all make do with what we have. So, yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. So here we go. Here we go. From the other side, the message for you is, you make mistakes, but learn from every one. And when it's said and done, you bet this brother will be a better one. If I upset you, don't stress. Never forget that God isn't finished with you yet. Ghetto Gospel, Tupac Shakur. What's the message? What does it mean? Why did you get it? How did you get it?
I'm latching on to this brother will be a better one.
Yes.
Because I there's no other victory for Black people outside of having a better one next time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I see that with my little brothers. I see that with Greg and me. I see that with my little brother Cameron. Like we get better every time. Every time we do get better. And I'm honored to be, you know, already obsolete looking at my baby brother, you know. They're already, you know, way past where I could be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Beautiful, Malik. Thank you so much. And so for those who are witnessing, yes.
Sorry, Shani. So we were joined by Ajani Carr. Ajani Carr is going to do some work at the end for us.
Okay.
And he's on. And Ajani, I don't see your face. I see your image, your static image here. Can you come on? Are you there, Ajani? Maybe he checked out. I don't know. But he is younger than.
I see him there. Maybe we need to invite him to unmute.
Yeah, I've invited him to unmute and share his video. So.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. So what I'm going to do to round this off and then pass to my brother Joshua is to read the unspoken messages. And for those of you who are in YouTube who may have picked the other numbers, you get to hear what Spirit has for you, what the message is for you. Number 2, long live the rose that grew from concrete when no one else even cared. And that's from the song, The Rose That Grew from Concrete, Tupac Shakur. Number 3, intuitive message, you got to make a change. You see, the old way wasn't working, so it's on us to do what we got to do to survive. That's from Changes. Number 4, tomorrow you wake with a second wind and strong because of pride. I know you fought with all your heart to keep the dream alive. And that's from And Tomorrow. Number 6, driven by your ambitions, desire high positions, so you proceed to make G's eternally, and your mission is to be more than just a rap musician, the elevation of today's generation, if I could make them listen. And that's from Unconditional Love. And number 9, you exist in the depths of solitude, pondering your true goal, trying to find peace of mind and still preserve your soul. Powerful. And that's from In the Depths of Solitude. And finally, number 10, even though you're fed up, you got to keep your head up. Keep your head up. Ghetto Gospel, Tupac Shakur. And so I humbly pass the baton to my brother.
Yeah, before you pass it on, Ajani did come on, and I'd love to hear his face, right? I think he's the youngest on the in the circle.
Awesome. Ajani, you got the instruction?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, I was having problems with my computer. I'm Ajani Carr. I'm 17 years old. I'm a little young, so I don't consider myself to be a father figure at the moment. I can say that I am a big brother in a lot of ways. You know, I look up to a lot of OGs who I respect and love as father figures. So, yeah. Was there any other instructions?
Just pick a number from 1 to 10.
6.
6. Thank you. So your message that you intuitively selected and that the ancestors have for you is driven by your ambitions, desire higher positions. So you proceed to make G's eternally in your mission. Is to be more than just a rap musician. The elevation of today's generation, if I can make them listen. And that's from Unconditional Love by Tupac Shakur. So what's the message in that for you?
I think the message in that is just realizing personally and then helping the youth realize that we can be thinkers. No matter what type of background you're from, or obstacles you've been going through in life, you can be more than what we are presented with, more than just rap, more than just basketball. You can think your way out of any situation you're in and think your way into a situation you want to be in.
All right now, sacred text, sacred words. We thank you. And so Fatima, are we complete and I can pass it?
We are complete and you can
Beautiful.
pass it. And one little caveat, I want us to know that generally the way we have been situated in Southwestern culture is confined by time. And when we're confined by time, it's very difficult for us to be fully expressed. And so in the context of this, we are going to do this next piece and just be with us so that we can get in a real conversation, community conversation. We can hear from people out there also. So Joshua.
All right, thank you. Sister Fatima, thank you for that last word about time. So we're going to deepen the experience. I appreciate everybody and everything that's been said, if I understood you correctly. And Brother Jamal, we're going to get started with you. And if you could remind me of your number, I know it was either 7 or 8.
It was the number 8.
Okay, all right, great. And before we ask the gentleman to stop video, I'd like for you to pick someone to remain on the screen with you from this audience here.
I will pick my brother, Charles Barron.
All right. Thank you, Brother Charles. You can remain on, and I would ask if everyone else would please turn your videos off. And Stephanie, we can go with the chairs. So it's just the 3 of us. Okay. I will be further back than you guys. But Brother Jamal, want you to take a moment and think about your wisdom figure. Someone who has impacted your life in a very profound way. And I want you to invite that person to choose, I want you to choose a chair and invite that person into this space. And you will let me know which seat. Are you taking the one on the left or the right? And then your invited wisdom figure will be obviously on the other one.
Yes, I'm in the chair that is screen right, and my wisdom figure is the chair on the left, screen left.
Okay, so that was technical. So am I looking at it right? The one on the left, right?
Is my wisdom figure, that's right.
Okay, got it, awesome. And you are on the right. And Brother Charles, I want you to be present and listen to what Brother Jamal, how he describes his wisdom figure. You're gonna take that role, okay? Brother Jamal, now imagine your wisdom figure in the left chair. I want you to think about the energy that your wisdom figure creates when you're with that person, how that person might be sitting in the chair right now. You may even think about how old that person is as you are conjuring up that person right now. Might be sitting a particular way that sort of strikes you. And here's what I'd like for you to do. You have that person, you have sort of the energy of that person?
Yes.
All right, awesome. Now, I'm gonna invite you to reverse roles with that person. So you're now sitting in the left chair. And when you get there, you are Brother Jamal's wisdom figure. And I want you to speak first person present tense. And just tell us who you are. You got that?
Yeah, no, I wasn't clear on the very last part.
Okay, so you are now Brother Jamal's wisdom figure.
Yes.
All right. So I'm gonna prompt you. So, hey, welcome. Brother Jamal invited you here today. Could you tell us your name and a little bit about yourself?
Thank you. It's great to be here. I am a revolutionary. I am independent. I have the incredible ability to make people inspired and happy, but uncomfortable and angry at the same time. And I have walked paths that are undefined according to my age, to my color, and my gender.
Welcome. And what is your name?
Ajani Shakur.
Ajani Shakur. Wow, I've heard so much about you, and I'm sure you've impacted Brother Jamal very much. All right, welcome again. So I invite you to reverse back to your role, your chair, Brother Jamal. And Brother Charles, you're now the wisdom figure. Can you place yourself in the left chair? You are now Ajani Shakur, right? And can you say a few of those words back to Jamal and the rest of us of who you are?
Always remember that we will win, and we must stay principled, and we must believe in a force greater than us as we go forward to deal with very powerful forces here on earth. And with our courage, with our commitment, and with our sacrifices, Jamal, if you continue to do that and do it boldly and with principle and with love, we will win. We cannot lose, Jamal, because we're right. We're on the right side of history.
Okay, awesome, thank you. And let's reverse back. Brother Charles, you go back into the right chair. And Jamal, you're the wisdom figure again. Got that? All right, yes. Awesome. So, Sister Ajani Shakur, why has Charles invited you here today? What's the message you need to give to him?
I think that Charles has invited me so that I could let people know that we have to sustain this battle. And there's two things about battling. We can't feel weak or dismayed when we feel like we are losing, and we can't get too cocky or confident when we feel that we're winning. Both cases, what's going to sustain us is to remember the real reason why we're fighting. And the real reason is that it's bigger than us. And the thing that's always bigger than us is the people and our love for the people.
Awesome. And thank you. Let's reverse again and give that message back to Brother Jamal. Ajani. Brother Charles, you are.
Well, Jamal, as we walk this earth and as we conquer battles, we know that the war is long, and it may take generation after generation. But if we make the commitment and the sacrifices in this life and this generation, we will win. And my message to you always, Jamal, will be that the masses, the people make history. It is the masses that will rise up and make history. And we are not the custodians, or nor we are the dictators of time when it will happen. But believe this, Jamal, it inevitably will happen.
You receive that?
I receive it.
Where do you receive it in your body?
I receive it directly in my heart.
Yes.
And my soul. It's in the center of my chest, radiating outward.
Yes. And as we complete this, I really appreciate you sharing this, your precious relationship with Ajani Shakur with us. Is there a nonverbal way you can just, in this moment, be complete with what you've done in inviting her here? Yeah. Can everybody do that, even if you're off video? Keep doing that, brother Jamal. I invite everybody to come back on video and join us in this nonverbal movement. Look around, brother Jamal. Everyone got that message. And join you. Yes. Ashe.
Ashe.
Thank you. All right. Wow, that was powerful. And do we have time for one more? You're on mute.
We can do the other one. It's 8:27 and we are scheduled until 9, and we do want to have everyone else to be in that conversation. So I'm gonna leave it up to you in terms of space and time to manage that. Thank you.
All right. Just want to check in with everybody. Everybody's doing good?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah, we're good.
All right. Very good. All right, Brother Ray, you were next. You got a sense of what this is about right now?
I think I got the drift.
Ray Senior, that is.
Yes, I think I have the drift.
All right. And your number again was?
8.
Same one. I'd like to read that again real quick. Strength is overcome by weakness. Joy is overcome by pain. The night is overcome by brightness. And love, it remains the same. It's the untitled number 3. All right, Ashe. And Brother Ray, would you choose someone to be your wisdom figure?
Reverend Daughtry.
Okay. Reverend Daughtry, are you okay with this?
Yes, by all means.
All right. Everybody else, please turn off your videos. Thank you so much. Johnny, thank you. All right, cool. All right. Reverend Daughtry, you're gonna play the role of Brother Ray's wisdom figure, okay? He's gonna tell you what to say. All right?
Okay.
All right, awesome. All right, Brother Ray. Could you, Steph, we need the video. You saw the 2 chairs, right? One is for you and one is for your wisdom figure. I'd like for you to let us know which chair your wisdom figure is in.
To the left as I face my screen.
Okay. All right. Now, I want you to reverse roles right up front and become your wisdom figure and say who you are and why Brother Ray invited you.
My name is Albert Moore Sr., and I am his grandfather. And he invited me because of the wisdom that I shared with him as a child.
And give us three things you shared with him.
First, I think the most significant thing was to continue to believe that there was more to him than what he was knowing at that time. And as he pursued self-discovery, it would show up.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The second would be because we lived in the deep South where there was a lot of everyday in your face kind of pressures and stresses and violence upon the Black male, to remember that no matter how I was addressed outside of what my name was, I had to know that that was not my problem, it was their problem. And the third thing that was to remember was that seek to discover what manhood really was. And it wasn't a physical thing, it wasn't a thing of strength, and that real men do cry.
Yeah, thank you, Brother Albert. Great words from a grandfather to his grandson. How old is your grandson at this point that he's recalling? He's 6 years old. Wow. Wow. And can you give us a nonverbal gesture that you know that he got those lessons? Okay, looks like you're...
He hugged.
Ah, yes. He squeezed it into you.
Yes.
Breathed it into you.
Yes.
And what did you whisper into his ear in addition to those three things?
Stay strong.
All right. Got it. Thank you so much. Reverend Daughtry.
Yes.
I'd like for you to reverse roles with Brother Moore. You're sitting in his seat on the left. And Brother Ray, you go back to yourself. Reverend Daughtry, you are now Albert Moore Sr., Ray's grandfather. And I'd like for you to hold your arms as if you're hugging someone. You're hugging that 6-year-old boy who you gave some great life lessons to. And you whispered in his ear, stay strong. Can you repeat those words and repeat that gesture?
Yes, my grandson, you stay strong and remember to always define yourself. Around you, others will try to define you, but you must always define yourself and define yourself in the context of history.
Yes.
Remember that you are the offspring of greatness. You are the offspring of those who gave to the world civilization. You built the world, you built the wealth. And you must always remember that.
Yes.
In this life, you're going to face obstacles. But remember to name yourself, claim your future, and no one can stop you. And remember the wisdom of the ages, the wisdom that comes from religious leaders, moral leaders, ethical leaders, that there is a creator, and people will call the creator by many names.
Yes.
But
Brother
there
Ray.
is a spiritual reality, and you must cultivate a relationship with the spiritual reality so that it would be nothing can move you from that anchor.
Yeah, all right. Very good, thank you. Brother Ray, you got that?
I got it.
All right. And what is your message back to your grandfather?
Thank you, and I love you.
Thank you. All right. And I'm going to invite, is this good enough for now? Brother Ray?
Excuse me?
Are we good?
Yes,
Is this
we are.
Good place to stop. All right, I invite everybody to come on and hold your position like this. Give yourself a big hug. They even had some rocking in there. Sometimes we just need to be held. And sometimes we just need to be whispered into our ears that all is going to be well. Let's take one deep breath. Ashe. Thank you. We're complete.
So Joshua, do you want to leave the sharing or do you want to move in another direction?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah, so for the next few minutes, gentlemen, we're going to share about the experiences you've had so far on this session. All right. So, and as you speak, I'd like for you to sort of map on, if you're going to speak about the two action pieces we just did, so how did that impact you? It's not a time to critique or I wish I had or anything like that, but just say how Brother Jamal and Brother Ray's short, brief action impacted you. They put themselves out there with all of us here who we can see, but we also have, you know, a lot of people in on YouTube who will never be seen, but they've been impacted as well. So let's say a few words before we move forward. Who'd like to speak first? Brother Charles?
You know, I thought it was very interesting that when Jamal picked me, he also picked Ajani Shakur. I had a very, very close relationship with Ajani Shakur. When I spoke to Setua recently about being a part of the board, she said, "You remember me? I'm the little girl that used to sleep in your bedroom in the back room while you was on the couch," because Ajani used to come over my house with Tupac and Setua, and they used to stay, and Ajani used to always sing this song, "Can you catch the wind? Can you make the world spin? Can you pull the sun down? Can you make man from the ground? Oh no, but I know who can. God can." So me, Setua, and Tupac, when we would eat dinner, Ajani would always sing that to us. So I thought it was very spiritual and very deep that Jamal, who, when I was joining the Panthers in Harlem, he don't even know this. I used to come up to 125th Street and see him on the corner always selling his papers, and I was so impressed. And when I would go to the political education classes, I thought, as Jamal did, that they was going to teach us how to deal with weapons and all that stuff. And they said, "These books are your weapons." And we had to read a lot of books. So I just thought it was very, very spiritual and very deep, the connection that Jamal had with Ajani and I had with Ajani, and then to have Reverend Daughtry be a part of this too. When Ajani came to the House of the Lord Church and brought Tupac and joined the House of the Lord Church, and Reverend Daughtry used to always go to when Tupac was incarcerated to really mentor him and keep him. So I just thought the fact that Reverend Daughtry and Jamal and myself is on the same program around the family of Ajani Shakur and Setua and Tupac was a very deep, impacting and spiritual experience for me.
You're muted, Joshua.
All right, Brother Peter.
Yeah, you would like me to speak on the practice we just had?
Yeah, what was your experience of that?
I thought it seemed like there was some closure being had. I had like I said, I had a situation recently where I lost my grandfather, so being able to connect with a figure that's no longer here with us kind of brings you closure, you know, and talking, having a conversation, and just finding that relationship again helps you to move forward, you know, or even hearing from them sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, I think we think about these people all the time. They're always with us.
Yeah.
So I think that's what that made me think of, closure.
Yeah. Can you say allows me to move forward?
Allows me to move forward.
That's right. That's right. Ashe.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Ashe.
All right. Anybody else?
I found it incredibly profound. I was blessed to know both Afeni Shakur and my father's grandfather, Albert Moore. I knew him when I was very young. I didn't get a chance to know him. And it was very interesting to hear my father, who didn't have a father in his life, talk about a father figure in his life. We don't talk about his grandfather all that much, but it kind of gave me some closure in that way to really understand that relationship. And it kind of taught me a little bit about my own father. I've always looked at him as somebody that was very stern. And I realized he was raised by some very powerful people that were stern as well. And as for Uncle Jamal, for you know, his conversations with Afeni, in her last years, we got to spend a lot of time together, and she was another powerful figure that talked a lot about responsibility to me. So for me personally, it was a lot of closure, a lot more for me to think about and unpack.
Got it. Yeah. Thank you so much. Anyone else? I'd like to hear from a young guy. Ajani or young Malik. There you go. Come back in.
Hey,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's interesting because I feel like I've been having that exercise in my head, doing it with Afeni for the past 4 years now, you know?
Yeah.
And it's something I would hope we highlight, and we have, but outside of Afeni, and for us as Black Americans specifically, Black women have such a hand in shaping what our Black manhood is, you know? Malcolm X, who I consider the patron saint of Black men, he was raised by his mother, you know? Like, his father was killed very, very young, and we worship at the shrines of men who were built by women. And Afeni is one of those builders. In the years since her passing, I've just, you know, from 20 to 24, a young man grows a lot and learns a lot. And I feel like, I definitely feel like I wish I could have those conversations with her and those closures with her.
Yeah. Just by show of hands, anybody get closure other than the gentleman in your own personal lives, whatever you're dealing with? Okay, great. Yes, Brother Jamal.
So I was just affirming the closure, brother, how beautiful and powerful this circle was.
Yes. All right. Okay. All right. So we'll be.
I thought Ajani wanted to say something.
Okay. Yes, sir.
So the about the exercise, it's my first time doing an exercise like that, and I found it real empowering, especially when you since we're doing it united, You know what I mean? And I think it was really nice, like to spread love like that in that way. It's my first time doing an exercise like that. So
yeah, very good. Thank you. As you can see, gentlemen, it's very important to get closure somehow, some way, to get complete with those things from the past. Okay? All right. All right, so we can move on to, if there are no more comments.
Just
Yes, sir.
you read,
Real brief, so we can, yes, sir, real brief.
Yeah, just very briefly, I heard the two young brothers, just to relate it, the conversation I had with Tupac in Rikers Island. He was there, and at this particular time, he was talking and writing, and he looked up and he said to me, "Hey, Pastor, you know what? When I want to achieve something, I draw a picture and I put it on the wall, and I will not sleep in the bed. I'll sleep on the couch, on the floor, until I achieve what I put on the wall." And so I said, "Park, I didn't know you were metaphysical." I said, "Well, I don't know what that means, but I know it works." So to the young brothers in particular, I've used that everywhere I've gone, that you draw a picture, the power of the mind, draw the picture, and you can achieve whatever you set your mind upon.
That's right. Thank you. All right. So I'll turn this back over to Brother Fatima.
So,
I'm sorry, Sister.
yes, so this has been such a powerful experience. I've had these experiences and I know how powerful they are, and I really think that our community could be in these kinds of conversations. And I'd like to ask Jocelyn if she's seen any comments or any questions coming from the channel, from the live channel, that they might want to direct to some of the people sitting here. So Jocelyn, are you there?
Hi, I'm here. From Roseanne on YouTube. She said, "What small thing could make the biggest positive impact that you would like to see happen considering this current environment?"
All right, so we're opening up the floor to everybody at this point. Yes, Brother Jamal.
You just unmute yourself when you're ready. Yeah.
You know, in the spirit of Father's Day and what this gathering has been about, mentorship is so important. It is powerful and necessary in terms of the nonstop show of unity and commitment with the ongoing protests and with the ongoing demands. The communities that we march through, those young brothers and sisters who see us from their windows, from those playgrounds, from in front of their buildings, need the same kind of mentorship that we had. And I'm talking about movement mentorship, spiritual mentorship, that all of the brothers and the men on this panel talked about receiving, being the beneficiaries of, and giving. And that can be as simple as, you know, stopping to have a conversation every time you see a young brother or sister, to check and see what they're doing, what their dreams are, and dropping a little piece of history, not over, because sometimes it becomes too much and they may see you and duck around the corner. But I'll tell you a story of a job I had when I first came from prison 30 some odd years ago. I think it was 32 years ago when I was released from Leavenworth Prison. And I had a job teaching theater arts at a program where the young men were on probation. And I said, this is great. You know, I had earned 2 college degrees in prison. I started a theater company. I was coming out as a veteran Panther. I knew I could really do this. And I showed up, brothers and sisters, with my curriculum. We were going to learn acting. We were going to do some improvisation, write a play at the end of the term, present a play that families could come. And I got there, and within 10 minutes, I realized I needed to throw my curriculum out the window. because these brothers were in gangs. They were talking about who they were mad at, who they were going to beat up, who they were going to shoot. So my job was to try to defuse the bomb so they'd make it back alive in a week. And each week it would just be improvising and trying to deal with the energy that was in the room, similar to what we do.
Yeah.
And it's the one assignment that I had, Pastor, that I thought that I didn't do well at. You know, if you ask me, what jobs have you had over the years? And a few years ago, I was walking down the street with my oldest son, who had just gotten his master's from Columbia at the film school where I teach. And there was a brother in his 30s who was standing there, like 29, 30 years old, and he stops me and he said, Brother Jamal, Mr. Jamal, Professor Jamal, you don't remember me, but I was a knucklehead in that youth program. Name of the program was Changing Scenes. And of course I went right into, no, brother, you weren't a knucklehead. He says, no, trust me, I was a knucklehead. I wasn't trying to hear nothing. He said, but each week you would come with something positive. And I wasn't trying to hear it. But 2 years later, it kicked in. And here's why I'm so glad I'm seeing you now. I am a social worker. I'm a husband. I'm a father. Thank you. So even when we don't think, right? Even when we get a little frustrated, it's like you're in the garden and you're planting some flowers and the wind comes and takes some of the seeds away. The flowers bloom in your garden. And then across town, maybe it's a rose coming from a vacant lot or a rose coming from concrete, the way Tupac talked about, you'll see a similar flower, not realizing that was a seed too, but it just got planted in a different way. So that ongoing mentorship. And I heard Sister Maya Angelou talk about what parenting really is. And she said, you know, what I realized about being a mother, and I wasn't a father then, but I knew this would guide me in fatherhood. She said, you don't have to be perfect, but you have to be available.
Yeah, Ashe, thank you. And we're gonna request that we keep it, keep our comments to about a minute or so we can hear the voices of some of the other brothers.
Is it okay if I comment?
Sure.
Yes.
I would like to build on his idea of mentorship. I think that's a great word right about now for the current environment. I think there needs to be a lot of unity across the board, a lot of conversations to be had. I might have been only 24, but I mentored like 2 teenagers that have been murdered since, right? But every situation won't necessarily have a happy ending. But when young people reach out to the elders, I think we need to listen. I think we all need to listen to each other. And I like to think that I made some type of a positive impact in their lives before they passed away, these young men, these 2 young men. One was DJ Kool Herc's son. DJ Kool Herc actually created hip hop. The other was Toya Carter's little brother, Lil Wayne's wife. Her little brother, I mean, it's just ironic these are hip hop related, but her little brother was killed in New Orleans, just sitting in the passenger seat with his brother, sitting in a parked car. And these things have greatly affected me. I always like to. I look at Greg. Greg has been a positive figure in my life. He's here.
What do you want to say? What do you want to say to Greg right now? Make one statement.
Yeah. I just want to thank Greg for always being a stand-up individual, just for the time that we spent around each other. He's always been.
Talk to him. Talk to him.
Oh, Greg,
Don't
thank
worry
you,
about
man.
the rest of us. Just talk to him.
Yeah, Greg, thank you, man. We know you, man. We know how positive you are and how you always extend a helping hand to us if we ever need anything. And I just thank you for being available, as he said, whenever we needed you or we needed a positive male figure around at the foundation. I was at the foundation before I started working in television professionally. Okay. And it's people like you, Greg, that makes a difference in our lives. I could have ended up in prison or dead. I never thought I'd live past the age of 21. And last year we brought home an Emmy Award. So now I reevaluate my life every year.
Yeah. Let's give Brother Greg, thank you. Let's give Brother Greg an opportunity to respond.
Yep.
Well, I appreciate that, Peter. You know, I think that as men, we don't tend to give each other our roses while we're still alive. And I just want to say, in my journey, I've always tried to be of service because I've like slipped through the cracks somehow. I wasn't blessed with any real male role models. I'm just gonna say real quick that I always struggle with the break in my family and why my family is always very divided. And my grandmother just passed, and we came across a picture that we found of my grandmother standing with my grandfather and her grandfather standing behind them with a shotgun. It was a shotgun wedding. And I realized in that moment that the reason why my family struggled with love and struggle with unity is because from the very beginning of before we were even all here, it was a forced situation. It wasn't chosen love. And that's why when my grandfather abandoned us, that kind of like was like a cloud over our family for a long time. So I'm standing up to change that, and I've been trying to change that, and I have been changing that ever since I became a man and had a family of my own. So Peter, you know, all you guys with your bright eyes, you guys rehabilitated me because I always was searching to be something better, and I got an opportunity through Afeni Shakur, who saw something in me to put me around young people, and she saw that I had something to give, and she felt I had something to give, and I've been doing that ever since.
Wow, isn't that powerful, Brother Barron? I see you.
Yes,
I see you.
I just wanted to add one quick thing, and Jamal mentioned availability. You know, often these mobilizations that are occurring around issues, particularly when police kill us or do it the way they did my brother George Floyd, we've had demonstrations in over 2,000 cities and 50, 60 countries. This has really been something. But I want to encourage everybody viewing this, join an organization. You should not be out there alone. Join some organization. And if there's no organization doing anything right, start your own. Because we have to put our collective power together to win this. And we have to turn mobilizing around issues to organizing for power. Bottom line, we need power. We have our personal spiritual power, but it has to be some collective political and economic power to transform, systemically transform this racist, parasitic, capitalist system. So join an organization for liberation.
You know, Councilman Mr. Barron, that's where we're going to close this up because there will be more conversations. And I want to just say that in the interest of time, I'd like to acknowledge everyone. I'd like to let you know that I'm sure we're going to have these kinds of talks and conversations in the future with the foundation. And we have resources on the website for people who are struggling with some of the issues and things that are happening now, whether it's anxiety or, you know, just concern about their family or their community, that we have some resources that you can go and get support around. And we also want to acknowledge that with the foundation has 5 initiatives, major initiatives. And the one that we are, that I am part of delivering is the mental wellness and community health. And what does that look like? And we all are shaping that. It is not somebody out there doing it, it's us here doing that. And that's where we want to leave. And I want to end this with a young poet, Ajani Carr. Ajani Carr wrote some extraordinary words, and we're going to ask that we all mute before we say so long to one another, to have Ajani, if you don't mind, Ajani, to present your work.
Thank you. This poem is called "How Could You Judge Me?" And it's basically based on Tupac speaking about us getting war mentalities directly from America, and there being a sort of hypocrisy in America judging us for violence when that's all they've shown us. So yeah, here it goes. Oh, the hypocrisy you inflicted, then blame the victims for your atrocities. You put all the weight on my shoulders and never spotted me. On the road to a new life, but these blue lights keep stopping me. You took everything from us but locked us up for robberies. You took any and everything we had to give. You took my life away before I knew what it meant to live. You took my wife away and you beat me in front of my kid. So you say father figure, he don't know what that is. Now he gonna put that pain of losing me onto his child. And I was dirt poor, so they probably live in the wild. I get a glimpse of your true colors when I blink. Today I saw a beautiful pigment above the sink. You left me struggling and scrambling to find who I am in a land of abandonment. Now I'm on this cam with a knee on my neck, another knee on my back. To be black in this country is to be under attack. You left me in the wasteland, so I would think of myself as nothing but a waste, man. A waste of a heart, a waste of a mind. And now that's how I think when I see a brother of mine. But now it's time for me and him to come together, stop killing our own and love each other through whatever. You think of me as your enemy every single day. How could you judge me when I start to think of you the same way? Love, thank you.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you. Oh, I'm giving you a hand to Ajani. Thank you.
Incredible,
Thank
man.
you. Yeah. Malik, you saying yeah. I see you, Malik. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, y'all. It has been like awesome. You men are awesome. You're beautiful. We take your wisdom at heart. And we just want to say thank you. And thank you. The English language cannot express the gratitude that generally comes from our heart. So we got to find something else to say that really generates our spirit around our gratitude for each other. And I just want to say, I'll use thank you for right now. But until we come up with some more language, a new language, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Can I ask you guys a question real quick?
Sure.
Thank you.
I heard you guys say Ashe it was.
Yeah.
What? You guys explain that to me because it's my first time hearing it.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Hey, Shawnee, you want to do that?
I want us to co-create the meaning. So you know how with Black folks, especially those who have been church, they say amen at the end of a good sermon, or if a song is being sung, or somebody's giving testimony. So in African tradition, particularly the Yoruba tradition, Ashe means and so it is. And so it is. And so I say it as much as I can because our words are like fire, our words are water, air, and what's the other element?
Earth.
Thank you, earth. They're grounding, they're manifesting. So when we hear something that is really affirming for our lives, and we definitely need affirming words because our words are our wands, that saying Ashe is like the stamp. Yeah. Like this is good. This is right. So when your next poem, brother, put Ashe in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, I wanted to say one quick thing. It's going to take like 10 seconds. There was a question that said, what would we like to see come from all of this? And I wanted to say that me personally, I would like to see people taking more accountability in their own communities again. I've always heard of a time from my grandmother when the neighbors would intervene if they saw the kids out doing things wrong and stuff like that. And I think we need to get back to that way where people all the neighbors know each other and they know each other's children. And I think if we did that in the communities again, I think there would be a big difference in the way we wouldn't have to be policed as hard if a community took accountability for each other.
For that to happen,
I agree.
Amen.
We have to look at it as family.
Henry?
Go ahead, Henry.
I said for that to happen, we have to look at each other as family. You know, whether it's a brother down the street or sister down the street, they're family, plain and simple. And we have to look at each other that way.
Thank you, Henry.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Ashe.
And I don't want to go. I really don't, because it's like if you look at the comments and the questions, the community want to be in this conversation, and unfortunately, this platform can't bring everybody to be in the conversation. But we are in the conversation, and everybody in the public sphere, we're in this conversation, and yeah, I don't know what else to say. Just I don't want to usurp other people's time, you know, which is a Western European thought about time. But we're here. We can come back. We can reach out, and we can connect.
Miss Fatima.
Yes.
Just right before we go, I had a friend that said we should do this more often.
We should do this more often.
Yeah, so the discussions, I definitely have people that would like to see this from the foundation more often. So
definitely take note of that. Yeah.
Yep, there you go.
Yes. Thank you, Peter.
You're welcome.
Yes. Ubuntu, Ubuntu Saba, Uhuru, Ashe.
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks,
gentlemen. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for being here tonight. Peace and blessings to everybody.
And I want to thank Onaje. Onaje is my partner, my husband, and he did the wonderful libation that we did earlier. And I want to thank my team and partners, Joshua Lee and Shawnee Benson. And they do some fabulous work in their own right, in their own spaces in Baltimore and in New York City. And just look us up, and we definitely will come back with something once that is, you know, we talk and see what's next.
Ashe.
Yeah.
If everyone can repeat after me. Saba Uhuru.
Saba Uhuru.
That means the 7 freedoms. And Saba Ujija.
Saba
Ujija.
That's the 7 villages. If we embrace the 7 freedoms in the Nguzu Saba, 7 principles of Kwanzaa, and live it every day, we will be able to rebuild the village on all the different 7 levels. Saba Uhuru.
Saba
Uhuru.
Saba Ujija.
Saba Ujija.
The 7 freedoms and the 7 villages.
All right, Ashe.
Ashe. Love you guys.
Peter, I'm taking it into account. And good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.